Hi, my name is Al Kennedy. I'm going to be reading to you. I hope everybody's safe and well whenever you're watching this. You can see from the wood burner behind me that it's a windy day here. She's rattling through the wood. I'm going to be reading from this pamphlet from the Common Breath, which came out in the summertime. It's a poem. I don't often write poetry, but sometimes when a subject is very small or huge, overwhelmingly huge, as in this case, the idea comes out in a poem. So yeah, other than that, obviously I haven't had a haircut since December, so it's now becoming quite Middle Earth, I think, is the style. But there we go. There are worse things during the pandemic than having lots of hair. So this is called Look at Me How. Look at me how I am white. How my skin is the white of human bone, as white as the heat on Shark Island, as white as the paper beneath lists. It's just my skin, what I was born with. I never knew it was a fearful thing. Look at me how I am Celt white, Scot white, how the shape of my flag haunts Jamaica because of chains, rises over the south whenever it yearns for screaming, how the fire cross that gathered us summons the noose. The clan stumbles into blood nights, one letter metastasizing. Look at the color of people who were cleared and then clearing, underfoot and then treading down. The pure boar sang over stolen earth as an empire's cry for more, the turn of the sun, always seeing our sin. We were the victimizing victims. Look how the blood washed from the cotton and tobacco, but never the debt. It's just my skin, what I was born with. I never knew it was a nightmare thing. Look at me how I travel unopposed. I can fly clean over the lash of the black line. I can drive from Charleston to Tahlequah and never feel the trail of tears. I never notice the abysses. I do not die in desperate boats. I do not die on concrete floors. I do not die hung by my thumbs. I do not die in cages. I do not drown myself or swallow poison as the only freedoms left. I have never been stopped and searched just for driving, just for walking, just for standing, just for looking. No one has ever hunted me for sport. It's just my skin, what I was born with. I never knew it was passport. Look at me, how I am complete. I am not liable to amputation as punishment, as proof of domination, as entertainment. I will not be crippled or violated to make amends for my natural form. I have not seen my mother's head held as a trophy. I have not seen my children's body parts cut and piled like fruit in baskets. I do not know my forebears' flesh was given out as souvenirs, as favors. No photographs exist of my beloved being tortured, hanging, burning, with a festive crowd beneath. No one has questioned my soul's complexity or extent. It's just my skin, what I was born with. I never knew it was my safety. Look at me how I sing and caper, love and worship, pray to powers, speak words of my heart and life and do so with no hobble chains, no muzzle, no curse, no resistance, no promise of monsters that walk proud in daylight, or monsters that wake up in shadows and take me with no warning. It's just my skin, what I was born with. I never knew it made my joys less cautious. Look at me how my hands have never held a bullwhip, a cowskin, a brand, a knife, a gun, a leash for dogs that hunt down freedom. My hands have never dragged sons from their mothers, never pointed a false accusation in hopes of fatalities. I've never counted money, slave sweat money, slave blood money, slave trade money. I have never pulled a rope and lifted up a child of God, never made that flag of blasphemy and a lost country beneath. It's just my skin, what I was born with. I never knew it had a history. But look at me, how my mind is made for knowing and has no excuse, and knowing is change, and change is reality's true nature, and reality is unsurvivable without truth, unsustainable without love. Look at me, how I am white like a clan hood. I take my whiteness back from that. Look at me, how I am white like the angry men with spittle lips, the ones who despise the future. I take my whiteness back from that. Look at me, how I am white like an existential threat, like the knee on the neck. I take my whiteness back from that. Look at me, how I am white like the faces that watch and do nothing while entitlement chokes out of life. I take my whiteness back from that. Look at me, how I am white like the Memsabs and Karens, the torturers and freaks and the broken-souled monsters. I take my whiteness back from that. Look at me, how I am white like the gatekeepers of peace and bounty. I take my whiteness back from that. Open the gates. And look at me, how I am writing. And I am not graceful, I am not remarkable, I am not offering magnificent sacrifice, I am simply consenting to no facts. I am fulfilling a minimum human requirement, which is that I notice reality, history, human pain. Only the lost and the broken refuse to save others from pain. Only the unloved and empty yearn for damages they can incur, seek justification. I am not good. I am only normal. I cannot mend everything, not by myself, but I can mend something. I am supposed to. This is a human obligation. This is the working of necessary love. And why? Look at me and my whiteness. The pain to be ended is elsewhere. There is help to be given elsewhere. There is work to be done. There are actions to perform expressly as if we live in the world where no skin is a color of anything other than love. So that's the poem. Speaking around, I suppose, the Black Lives Matter movement and some of the facts to which they have drawn attention. If you're not familiar with the Black Line, feel free to look it up on Google. If you're not familiar with the use of cow skin to beat people, please look it up. If you don't know what happened on Shark Island, a concentration camp where Namibians were allowed to die in great numbers. If you don't know about what happened in Namibia at all, where it was turned into a huge concentration camp by the grandfathers of people who then made some more concentration camps for another group of people, please look it up. If you don't know about the Trail of Tears, please look it up. There's an awful lot of history out there which isn't taught and isn't well known. It really does need to be known. Indigenous people, Black people, Asian people, Middle Eastern people, they know an awful lot of history that an awful lot of white people seem to have just skated over. It's all out there, and it makes life very much more interesting and safe and joyful and united to know things and to know history. Racism and hatred, it's a position of fear. Living in fear is unpleasant, and it tends to make you want to make others live in fear. And we have lots of things to deal with. We need lots of energy to stop climate change, to help everybody through COVID. There's a lot to be done that would be positive. So we need the energy for that, I think. As I say, stay safe, stay well. It's lovely to take part in the Wigton Festival, even if I'm not physically there. Bye for now. Thanks.